Alright, so generally it's a good idea to turn on your microphone when you record, I think. Also, I noticed in the last video there was a slight glitch in the audio every once in a while, rarely. And that's annoying, and I don't know what causes it, and I'm too lazy to fix it, so deal with it. Got my tea here. Get a drink ready, if you need to. Here we are. Wall text, limits, and demonstrations. Lula Chamberlain Retrospective. Marking the first major public showcase of her work in over 20 years, this retrospective exhibition of work by pioneering installation artist Lula Chamberlain comprises a diagonal slice through time, place, and form. The pieces on display here were individually debuted over a period of 35 years, designed in Chamberlain's various homes and studios between her beloved Mexico City and her native Elizabethtown. They represent a range of scale and impact, from the intimate warmth of vertex texture fetch to the infamous visage, the latter of which requires a vertical clearance of over 30 feet. A little bit of a rough start here, huh? Yet these works share a confounding legacy. In each of their debut exhibitions, they were nearly impossible to install. Galleries and museums balked at the scale, power requirements, and highly skilled labor involved in maintaining these works for display. Some of their debuts collapsed under the weight of logistics, only to be successfully executed much later. And so, just as they describe the outer limits of Chamberlain's range as an installation artist, the geographical edges and vertices of her itinerant home life, and the beginning and end of her distinguished career, the works on display here also trace the extremes of our capabilities and the frontiers of our patience as both viewers and exhibitioners. We are capable of viewing these works as they were meant to be viewed? What? Are we capable of viewing these works as they are meant to be viewed? Do we even want to be? And you'll notice these are the people that were playing that board game at the beginning. A card, spinning coin, suspended, correcting for angular motion. 1976, found materials. Emily. Feels so strangely alive. Yeah, like it's about to fall over. Emily. I mean, the coin's about to fall over? Ben. I've been looking at the coin too, but I can't really tell what kind of coin it is. My uncle used to collect coins. Did I tell you that? He was crazy for them, really obsessed. This coin actually doesn't look real. I think it's plastic. Anyway, nice use of materials. Card, vertex texture fetch, tree, television, and suspended cathode ray tube. 1968, found materials. Emily. Bob, this seems like your kind of thing. Bob. Oh yeah, I love this one. So domestic, but so weird. Guess I'm really into weird domestic these days. Visage, 1984, unknown media. Emily, what kind of machines are those? Ben, looks like, yeah, teletype terminals, and an old PDP tape cabinet, I think, or something from that period. My uncle used those to slice a visage to build a visage, a puzzle to its owner. Ben, what? It's a poem I read. I think it was written by a computer. Emily, I think it's lovely. Whose face is that? I want to remember those sunglasses. Card, overdubbed Namjoon Pike installation in the style of Edward Packard, 1965, 1973, 1980. Magnetic tape, handheld tape playback head, speaker system, voice of the artist, computer synthesized speech. Ben. Oh, I read about this one. It's interactive. Emily. How does it work? Ben. It's a bunch of old tape, and you run this tape playback head along it, and just listen to the recordings, I guess. Bob. Let's try it out. I think you start in the middle. As Bob drags the playback head along the tape, a woman's voice issues unsteadily from the speakers. Lula. You start in the middle. Donald and Joseph are in the hallway. I am in an office. The walls are lined with filing cabinets. A few drawers hang open. The door is ajar. A massive computer looms in the corner. There are some punched cards on the floor. A synthetic voice recording, spliced awkwardly into the tape, lists out options in monotone. Examine cards, rotate 30 degrees and advance 7 inches. To leave room, rotate 17 degrees and advance 4 inches. To activate computer, rotate 200 degrees and advance 15 inches. Well, let's examine the cards. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. Hula. Encoded in the holes punched through these cards is a first draft of the poetic subsystem. I can't read punched cards by sight. Donald can, I think. Anyway, this version's pretty underwhelming. To leave room, rotate 17 degrees and advance 4 inches. To activate computer, rotate 200 degrees and advance 15 inches. Activate the computer. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. So loud. I love it. I am now holding 2 punched cards. On one of them, Joseph has scribbled a note, Caves. The other is blank. To insert Caves card, rotate 11 degrees and advance 2 inches. To insert blank card, rotate 95 degrees and advance 14 inches. Blank card. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. I'm standing in a hallway. The walls are a blank beige. It's just after winter quarter, but before spring, so there are no students around. Usually, these walls would be papered with flyers announcing new student clubs, looking for roommates, selling old textbooks, but now they're blank. Seems like it skips around a bit. Donald's here, scribbling on a scrap of graph paper. Joseph is here. He can hear me talking into this tape recorder. Joseph, distant. You sound like an anthropologist, Lula. Donald, distant. An anthropologist? Joseph, distant. An entomologist, haha. Computer. To lean on Joseph's shoulder, rotate 70 degrees and advance 11 inches. To take Donald's hand, rotate 270 degrees and advance 2 inches. Joseph's shoulder. This is the beginning of the tape. I'm at home, alone. Joseph just left. We had an argument, but it'll work out. Bob. Wow, this is kind of personal. What time period do you think this clip is from? Says Emily. Ben. The title card says 1965, 1973, 1980. So, if this is the beginning, I guess that's 1965? And the first one we heard was 1973 then. The middle? Lula. I usually start here, in my home, whenever I'm sketching out a new piece. I start by just looking around. My closet door is open, and I can see a few sweaters and a dress I like. To go downstairs, rotate 11 degrees and advance 4 inches. To think about dresses, rotate 150 degrees and advance 15 inches. Think about dresses. It's kind of a terrible dress, actually. Denim. The breast is embroidered on one side, and a crude sketch of a tall man in working clothes. But one of his legs is obscured by the lapel. I guess I just like the cut and the color. I'd fall asleep sitting on the bed here, holding this tape recorder and this glass of wine. It's a good thing I'm not holding a cigarette. I think I'll go for a hike tomorrow. Maybe old Donald would like to. To fall asleep, rotate 70 degrees left and advance 9 inches. To think about hiking, rotate 115 degrees and advance 7 inches. Think about hiking. We're on a dirt trail, in the park, or, well, it's not really a trail. Donald, distant. It's a trail. It's more like a tendency. There tend to be fewer plants here, on the path we've been walking. Now we're walking at the edge of a massive hole. The dirt gives way to mossy rock as the ground sinks into darkness. Joseph and Donald are following a rope into the cave. They have computer equipment tied to their backs. So do I. Enter the cave, rotate 65 degrees left and advance 4 inches. Then, that's the only choice? Yeah, that's the end of that one. So, 65 degrees, 4 inches. Look, that's the last trip. So everything's down here now. Donald, distant. The final resting place. Joseph, distant. Don't be so morbid. Remember a fond gesture. Rotate 180 degrees and advance 23 inches. To regret a harsh word. Rotate 12 degrees and advance 6 inches. Remember. Morning now. I'm in the car. I'm driving to work. This is the last recording I'll make on this tape, and then I'll drop it in the mail tomorrow, and then who knows. I've been recording on this tape for 15 years, I think. A lot of other things happened. So, here's a story. When I met Donald and Joseph, they were both students, and I was in a band performing on campus. They came to my show, and then we met at some bar and had a few drinks together. Joseph wanted to impress me, so he stole a metal cocktail tumbler and gave it to me. We got kicked out, wandered drunkenly until morning, and finally ended up at a diner. And now I use the tumbler to store extra pens on my desk. So, I'm almost out of tape. I guess I'll just let it run out while I drive. No instructions? Bob, no, that's the end of this tape strip. Ben, I don't think we ever reached this long one at the top here. Is it cheating to skip over there? If we missed something, can we skip back a bit? Okay, sure. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. That's the last strip, so everything's down here now. Final resting place. Don't be so morbid. Remember a fond gesture. Regret. Let's choose this time. It's late morning now. I'm sitting at my desk on my lunch break. This is the last recording I'll make on this tape, and then I'll drop it in the mail tomorrow, and then who knows. I've been recording onto this tape for 15 years, I think. A lot of other things happened, so here's a story. The first time I moved to Mexico, I stayed there for 3 years, and I had no contact with either Joseph or Donald in that whole time. They each thought I'd done it to spite them. Maybe I had, in part, but I don't think they ever appreciated the community I had in Mexico, or... Anyway, when I came back, I didn't call them or visit the university. I ran into Donald completely by chance at a hardware store. He asked me why I hadn't called, and I told him it hadn't occurred to me. So, I'm almost out of tape. I guess I'll just let it run out while I eat. Go back a bit, maybe we missed something. Really? We've gone so far, says Bob. Yeah, let's go back. Bob. Okay, sure. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. Well, you know, I figured it would move back further. But maybe we can get it to go back to the top. Instructions. I want to tell a soul. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. Donald, distant. Think of our work, our research. Joseph, distant. You'll die in these damn cold caves. What about those old men? You know they'll come back. I inserted an old there, and what about those men? There was no old. Donald, distant. We'll go deeper, that's all. They'll never find us. Joseph, distant. Did you hear their voices? They'll find you, but not me. I'm going back to the surface. Hello? Stop, your stupid fight is ringing through the whole damn cave. Joseph is right, we can't stay here, I'm leaving too. But I'm not going back to the surface, I'm taking my station wagon and I'm heading down to the zero. Joseph, distant. We'll be lost forever. Donald, distant. But we need your voice for the machine, Lula. It only recognizes your voice. Lula, I'll send you this tape when I'm done recording. I'll put it in the mail, and then you can see what your damn machine does with it. Ben, oh. So the last 2 times I've done this, it's been very different for the first half. So, you know, this game really wants you to play it again. Title card, Basement Puzzle Number 2, Artist, Sunset and Horse, 1976, Plaster and Wire. Emily, what do you think that she means by puzzle? Bob, yeah, weird. I guess it's something you can solve. Ben, there must be symbols. Artist, sunset, horse. Or it's an anagram, or, like, a code? Emily, maybe it's not a puzzle, but it's just about a puzzle. Bob, maybe it's a puzzle, but there's no right answer. That is kind of sad. Oh. One more walk around before the road. And I think I've said this before, but the people that worked on this game, they had a history in art. I mean, they went to art school, and they had exhibitions involved computers, strange arrangements like this. Of course, not in some abstracted way. But it makes you wonder if they moved to games in order to, you know, better represent that shit. Think about those glasses. About those tapes. Of course, these tapes become really important later. Mostly because the characters here stay in the game until the end. And so do these, gamers here. Well, let's take the exit. Bob. Yeah, I guess I'm ready to go. Emily. Yeah, I need to get to work anyway. And so ends Limits and Demonstrations. Moving on to Act 2 next time, I guess. Come around.